getting a lot of questions from people about using vines in their landscape. And I want to give you a few hints on how you actually make that decision, because you can get stuck with a real mess on your hands if you don't deliberately take the time to figure out what you want that vine to do. A lot of people want the beauty and the fabulous flowers of something like clematis. Others want to be able to attract pollinators or hummingbirds, which is possible with the honeysuckles. So what you need to look at is, what is the habit of the vine? How does it actually vine, and how big will it get? So deliberately think about, do you want something at 6 feet? Do you want a herbaceous vine, which does mean that all of that foliage is going to die to the ground in the winter months? That really suggests, not only suggests, but you will have to do some management on that. You'll have to take those vines down, you'll have to pull them off your supporting structure and let them start over again. So that's a management issue. If instead you want something to crawl all the way up and over a pergola or an arbor of some sort, you may be looking at a vine that has a more aggressive character to it and also climbs differently. You'll have to determine what is the size of the structure that will be needed to support that vine. And again, just because it's really more woody in character and does not die all the way back to the ground every season, that does not mean you're not going to have to do a fair amount of pruning. That is particularly true on a couple of the vines that people really love. One of them being, of course, grapes. Grapes need to be pruned back significantly if you want them to actually fruit. And wisteria is another one. Let's talk for a minute about actually how vines vine, because again, that has a great deal to do with how you're going to use them and the structure you're going to give them. We talk about vines that twine, and the twining can be the actual stem itself, as in bittersweet, or it can be the petiole of the leaf, which is typically the way that clematis grow. For twining vines, you're going to have to give them something that is small enough and close enough spaced so that they can actually wrap themselves around that. Some of the larger, aggressive, climbing, twining vines will actually strangle, if you will, a post. So again, it's that motion of the vine itself that gets them up and over. Then we have vines that actually hang on by adventitious roots. They look like mustaches, or they look like Jody's millipedes, and those actually attach themselves to a structure. So they are not going to twine around a chain link fence, as an example, but they will attach themselves, and they're very difficult to scrape off. So you've got the adventitious roots. Climbing hydrangea is one of the vines that does that. And then we have the ones that actually cling with, they look like little frog feet, little tiny pads that attach. Boston ivy is an example of that. Again, they're going to go up and climb on any structure that allows them to attach, so they can go a lot higher. They can also be very, very difficult to get off if you decide they're going in the wrong direction. So again, you start with, what do you want that vine to do? Is it herbaceous? Is it woody or semi-woody? What is the structure you want that vine to hang on to? If it's something like a climbing rose, as an example, they don't climb by themselves at all. You want the roses, you're going to have to train them. Then you purchase in the garden center a vine, typically in a container, and you'll look at that vine and you'll think, good grief, that is going to be very difficult for me to untwine, untangle, and get going. So look at how that vine has been managed in the garden center, put them in the ground, enjoy what they're going to provide for you.